Hello guys, this is Remedy and today I want to show you the best way you can host your Laravel website to avoid being hacked or being attacked. Now, recently there is a lot of attack on Laravel. It's just my website. It's just an attack on virtual all the Laravel websites. They're attacking the .env. And why this attack is possible is because most of you guys host it using what is called a shared hosting platform, a shared hosting. So now a shared hosting is kind of an unsecure web hosting platform for you. All right. So but because you want to reduce costs, you need to use shared hosting. Because in shared hosting, a lot of people are using the shared hosting this thing. So your vital information can be accessed from one person in a shared hosting by creating what they call symbolic link. So the best way for you to host your Laravel website is to follow this procedure I'm going to show you, and it will protect your .env file because that's the most important file in your Laravel script. It contains a very sensitive information, your database information details. So what these most hackers do is that they get access to the .env file because they are using the same shared hosting you are using. They know the route to the cPanel and to the database, my PHP admin. So once they go there, the thing will request them to log in with the database details they have copied from your .env file. They can log in, and once they log in, they can inject any code in your database. They can change your wallet address, and they can do a lot of malicious acts to your database, and from there you can lose funds. So now, recently I told you guys to give permission 600 to the .env file. Even though that works, it's not a very secured. It's not as secured as you think it may be, because since they can still use the same data and the same cPanel, the same shared hosting you are using. If your shared hosting is a shared hosting that allows symbolic link that symbolic link works on, they can also they can also use symbolic use ls into your .env and change the permission to what 644. They can still change it to 644. So the best way for you to host it is to make them not to be having access to this .env file. And because everything inside the public underscore html file here now, they can have access to it, but everything outside here, they cannot have access to it. Provide in a cPanel, no matter if the person, unless they have direct access to the cPanel, that's the only way they can come and see things outside the public underscore HTML. But here now, they can read files inside this site, inside this place. They can read files inside this place. So the best thing you need to do for you to protect yourself from these hackers, um, from them reading your .env file, is to, first of all, what you need to do, go outside the public underscore HTML, the place where you see immediately before the public underscore HTML. You need to create a folder that will hold your .env file. You need to create a folder. Suppose now I call the folder remedy. All right, I will create a folder, call it remedy. All right, the folder has been created. So I will now go inside the public underscore HTML. I'll go inside the public underscore HTML, and I will move this .env file. I will move it to that remedy file that I created. So let me move it. So because I'm moving it outside this place, I'm going to call it remedy. I'm going to call it the place I'm moving it to be remedy. So once I move it, it has moved out. So what I need to do now is, because this is a site, currently this is a site, because now as I moved it now, this thing will give me an error. It will give me error here now because you cannot read the .env file again. For you to be able to read the .env file now, what I need to do now is I will scroll up. Still in the same distance, I'll scroll up. You see what we have. This place we have Bootstrap. This place where we have Bootstrap, you will see this app.php. Click on edit. Here now, you can scroll, you can push down here. Now I'll give you a code that we paste here. Once you paste that code here, it will be able to read the this thing in that file where it is. So let me add the code. I'll add the code in my video description, and I'll also add it in my blog. So this is the code you are going to put. I've written everything you need to know about this thing here. Now this is going to be the thing you're going to write. So you're going to place this code here. Now, once you place this code here, what this thing means that it should move two directory away from where this thing is and go and read the .env file in a file called remedy. Now, suppose you do not call it remedy. If you call it, maybe you call it website one. You change this thing to website one, and that folder name where you move the .env file, it should be also be website one. So this thing means that the env environment for this website is two directory away from where this thing is, this app.php is. That you should move two directory away and go to a file called remedy. Inside it, you see .env file. All right. So now, suppose now you are using something like subdomain. This thing, you change the 2 here. You change the 2 here to 3. So that because in subfolder you are in 3 directory before away from that place. So if you click on changes and save, then you can now come out from here. 1, 2. All right. Come out from here to the place where you created the folder remedy. Look at that folder remedy. That's where the .env file is. All right, click on it and give it permission 600. Okay, state permission 600. Now, once you do this, the site will come up. It will not come up. Okay, it's up now. All right, now this thing will protect your .env file. The hackers cannot have access to it any longer. They cannot be able to not having access. What they do is to read it. Once they read it, they copy out the database details. That's what they normally do. Then they can log into your database and change your payment details and do any other thing they normally do. Inject some of those code they normally inject. So you move it out to this place where, because in cPanel, everything in this place is what can be read in public_HTML. Now that sensitive file now cannot be somewhere it can be read. It's outside where no one can even read it externally. Even the person having access to the being in the same shared hosting cannot be able to read it. So this is as easy as ABC. The first thing you need to do is to create a folder here. Create a folder outside the public_HTML. Then move the .env file to that folder that you have created. Then go to Bootstrap here. Go to app.php here. Click on edit on it. You paste this code. You paste this code here in line 18. All right, and the name here should be exactly the name of the folder you created outside the public_HTML. You're getting what I'm saying? It should be exactly the name you have outside the public_HTML. What this code is telling is that you should find the .env file to folder away from this place. And if you go to folder outside from here now, you will see the remedy folder inside it. That's where the .env file. Now, suppose now you have a lot of websites. You have a lot of websites in this public_HTML, or is in a cPanel, is in a subfolder. If it's in a subfolder, these 2 here now will change to 3 because it's now in 3. Because the first one, you see the public_HTML, you see the folder where it is. Then inside that folder, you will now see app.php inside Bootstrap. So it's 3 folder away from there. Now, suppose now you have like multiple websites inside this public_HTML. So what you need to do now is you create different folders. Maybe you call it remedy 1, remedy 2. So you know the one you give remedy 1 and you know the one you give remedy 2. So doing this will protect your database from being accessed by external idiots or these external hackers that are causing this rubbish. It will protect your website, and they cannot be able to read your database details any longer. All right. Thank you very much.